I know you've been down thinking about him again. I know that your heart's been broken. You should try and let it go and start being yourself.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to create a soft, glittery glam look. And the first thing I always do is prime my eyelids, and I use some of my Annytude shadow guards. These will make it really easy to blend eyeshadows on my crease and will leave me with a very sharp line, but you will see that later in this video. And today I'll be playing with the Jaclyn Morphe palette because I know a lot of people own this palette. And this way I can show you many different looks that you can create with this. I also used this palette in my previous video, which I will link down in this video, which is a more dramatic version of the look I'm showing you today. But I realized that my previous video might be too hard for some people, so that's why I'm doing this softer version. So I blended this soft brown shade all over my crease, and now I'm going in with a slightly darker shade, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to blend it in my crease as well. And for all the steps that I'm doing with blending in my crease, you can use the same brush. You don't need a lot of brushes for this eye look. I will say that immediately. Just use your favorite blending brush and use it for blending these shades. Then I'm going to use an even darker brown shade, and I wanted to just darken up the outer V a little bit. So I first press the shade in my outer V, and then with whatever is left on my brush, I'm also going to softly blend it more towards my crease. And because the eyeshadows are really soft, it's not really hard to work with, but just try to make sure that you don't apply too much eyeshadow on your brush. I always tap off the excess, so this will just make it easier. Then I'm going to use the shade which I started with, and I'm just going once again all over my crease to make sure that there are no harsh lines. I always do this after every step to make sure that everything looks well blended out. So now I'm going to use the Natasha Denona palette, and I'm going in with this soft shade. And I realized if you don't have this palette, you can use the shade I showed from the Jaclyn palette. I realized a lot of shades that I'm using from the Natasha palette, the Jaclyn palette has very similar shades. So I could have just used only the Jaclyn palette, but I did not. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm just going to show you what you can use. So now I use this shade from the Natasha palette, but the Jaclyn palette has a shade which is almost identical. I swatched them both on my fingers and the shade is almost exactly the same. So just use the one in the Jaclyn palette, and I applied this on my eyelid, a little bit more towards the middle part of my eyelid. And then I'm going to use my finger because I feel like this gives even more color payoff. Now I'm going to use this bronzy shade from the Natasha palette, and from the Jaclyn palette you can use this shade which looks very similar as well. And I'm going to apply this more in my outer V and also softly blending this more towards the middle part to blend these shades into each other. And for this step I'm using the MAC 242 brush. I also use this brush for the other eyeshadows on the eyelid. So now I'm going in with this dark brown shade from the Jaclyn palette. And I'm using my Anastasia Beverly Hills blending brush, and I'm just going to blend a little bit of this in my outer V area just to darken it up. I always feel like this gives more definition, and just a little bit more darkness will make it more glam, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to use the MAC Mixing Medium Gel, which is a sticky consistency. And I'm going to use some of the MAC Reflex Gold Glitter. And I'm going to first dip my brush into the MAC Mixing Medium, apply this on my eyelids. Then I dip my brush into the glitter and I apply it on my eyelid. So this step is optional. If you are scared to use glitter, you can just leave it like it is and start with eyeliner or mascara. But I really wanted to give it a glam twist, just like I did with my previous video, because I mean the holidays are coming, so a little bit glitter is always nice. So now I removed my shadow shield and I'm going to apply my eyeliner, and I use the Inglot gel eyeliner, one of my current favorites, and I'm going to create a catwing.
You can put on your dress, we can play your favorite song, and I will take care of you, care of you, care of you. This is what we need, this is what we have to do. Tell me, can you feel it too? Baby, you should go work that body.
when I'm done with applying my eyeliner, I'm going to use this dark brown shade from the Jaclyn palette. And I'm using my flat diviner brush from Sigma Beauty, and I'm going to softly press this tight against my lash line. And I'm going like halfway underneath my lash line. I'm not going all the way to the inner corner. And then I'm going to use this warm orangey brown shade, and I'm going to use this to blend out the dark eyeshadow. And for this I'm using a Morphe M506 brush, which is a very tiny blending brush, which is perfect for blending precisely. Then I'm going back in with the Natasha Denona palette, and of course you can use that same shade from the Jaclyn Hill palette, which looks really similar. And I'm applying a little bit of this underneath my lower lash line, a little bit towards the middle part and near the inner corner. And then I'm going to use the light pearly shade, which is very pretty. It has a sort of golden reflex, and I'm going to pop this in my inner corner area to brighten it up. Then for my waterline, I'm going to use the MAC Fascinating Eye Pencil, which is a matte white shade, and I'm going to apply it in the waterline to make my eyes appear bigger, and I just feel like it gives more of a fresh appearance. And then for my mascara, I use the Tarte Cosmetics Gifted Mascara, and I applied my lashes off camera, which are the Annytude Sultry lashes. And then this is already the end of the video. I feel kind of clumsy that I just didn't stick with the Jaclyn Hill palette, since the shades I used from the Natasha palette are very similar. But I just had in my mind I wanted to use the Jaclyn Hill palette for the matte shades in my crease, and the Natasha palette for the shimmery shades on the eyelid. But after filming this, I realized how identical the shades in the Jaclyn palette are. But I also didn't want it to lie to you guys, acting like I did use the Jaclyn Hill palette, which I did not. So I hope you guys can forgive me that I made it so complicated, but I just want to show you like the options you can do to like use the Jaclyn Hill palette instead. And yeah, I just hope you enjoy. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I really hope you enjoy watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys!